he has brought in absolutely diamond quality people to be, for example, the Attorney General, for example, the Science Minister, and for example, the Prisons Minister. So it looks both a politically astute government that will achieve things quickly, and one that's signal to wider civic society that merit is rewarded.
We're going to discuss planning reform shortly. But it's very interesting, this new approach taken by the new Prime Minister of appointing a government of all the talents. He's made Richard Hermer his Attorney General. James Timpson has become his Prisons Minister. Patrick Vallance has become his Science Minister. And the latest one was Peter Hendy, made the Transport Minister, the former head of the London Underground. Charlie Falconer, can you give us an insight into what the Prime Minister is up to?
Well, I mean, I can't give you an informed insight, but one a very, very good thing, because he's done two things, I think. First of all, he's stuck with almost all of his shadow cabinet. So the people who you're appointing are people who've been preparing for this role for quite some time. And our experience in 1997 was, if people were prepared for the job, they really did hit the ground running. So look at Gordon Brown in the Treasury, David Blunkett at Education, Derry making constitutional change. So that's one thing he's done. And the other thing he has done is he has brought in absolutely diamond quality people to be, for example, the Attorney General, for example, the Science Minister, and for example, the Prisons Minister. So it looks both a politically astute government that will achieve things quickly, and one that's signal to wider civic society that merit is rewarded.
Ken Baker, you're probably waiting for a call, because one of the things I most admire, I don't know why I introduced you as a former Conservative Home Secretary, because what you've done over the last 20 years is carry on your passion and interest in education. And you're one of these people I know who can work across the party aisle. Presumably you'll want to work with the new ministers, particularly Jackie Smith, on issues like skills.
Yes, I will certainly work very well with her. I think his appointments so far have been good. I think the anchor one is Rachel Reeves, who I think is going to be a successful Home Secretary, Chancellor. She has to deal with the problems we've been dealing with, and she'll find that she's got racial scope. So it's a key position nonetheless. I'm particularly glad that he's appointed Bridget Phillipson to be the Education Minister. She's already invited educationists to a meeting with her next week, and I'll be going along with my senior executives as well, because she's interested in education.
This is the Baker Deering Trust that you run.
That's right, yes. Yeah. It is. I've been sponsoring technical schools for the last 14 years. We've got 44 of them, over 20,000 students, and we have some of the best results in the country. And quite frankly, the one thing that this government's got to do is to get growth going again. And you won't get growth going again unless you turn out more students at 16 and 14 who've got employability skills and who employers want. If you don't do that, the only alternative is mass immigration of skills. That's going to be the big test of this government. And that is why I think that the appointment by Bridget Phillipson is good, and Catherine McClintock and Angie Smith as well, all in that team. That I recognise as a good team, and I want to help them to be successful. I want to transform technical education in the next 10 years. The last Conservative government did very little to do that. They didn't really support the schools I was doing it. They were created in spite of them, not because of them.
That's right.
I welcome that team very much.
They pretty much ignored you, Ken. Now we've got a couple of other topics I want to cover in the time remaining. Obviously, Charlie Falconer, you're no NIMBY.
I'm no NIMBY, indeed. And indeed, as I think everybody would agree, I'm sure, including Ken, planning needs to be relaxed in order to allow both infrastructure growth and the building of residential houses. And I don't know if you had a chance to read the speech that Rachel Reeves delivered this morning, but it had 7 specific things that it was going to do and that we are going to do and do quickly on planning. She had been saying for a long time that planning needs to be much more sensible, and she's got straight onto it now, which is, I think, an example, first of all, of Ken being right when he says Rachel is the an anchor appointment in this government, but secondly, that she's been the Shadow Chancellor for some time and she knows what she's doing. So we've hit the ground running in relation to planning, and she's given 7 specific things that are going to happen, including an immediate change to planning guidance to allow the grey bits of the green belt to be used for residential building, and also allowing onshore wind farms, which is a very good thing, I think.
I want to get views on a particular topic that's of no interest to Charlie Falconer, but maybe a slight interest to Ken Baker, which is who should take over the Tory party?
Well, I don't think we should rush it. I think we should have an interim chairman of the party or leader of the party until after the party conference this year. I don't think anything will be more damaging to the Conservative Party now than to go into a leadership election where 2 people slang each other off. We've had enough of the Tory party falling out amongst itself for the last few years. I think we've got to go into a quieter period altogether. And quite frankly, I don't think that the public will be very interested in what we say for the next 12 months.
That is certainly true.
The focus will be upon the government and what they're doing. And could I just say one thing? I strongly support what they've already decided on planning, what Rachel has said today. Michael Gove was quite wrong to remove the targets from local authorities. We do need that. In fact, probably you'll only get 300,000 houses if you allow local authorities and housing associations to build some of them themselves.
We've only got
Tories did. Yeah. I remember a time when the Tories did build 300,000 houses. It was in the last days of Macmillan.
That's right, Harold Macmillan, before I was born, but those were the days.
It was before you were born. The Tory party passed a resolution
and I'm very old.
Houses. And Macmillan said, oh God, no, I can't possibly do it. But he appointed Ernie Marples, who had made his fortune of building motorways, and he did build 300,000 houses in 18 months. So it can be done.
And
I also strongly support bringing back onshore wind farms. It was again a mistake by Michael Gove not to support those. They're absolutely essential for the future. We've got to get on top of the energy problem of the country. So I applaud what those 2 things they've done today.
I always get insulted on Twitter for supporting a Labour government, but I support quite a lot of what it's doing. One big controversial area you're both experts in as a former Justice Secretary, Charlie Falconer, and the former Home Secretary, Ken Baker, the early release of prisoners. Is this going to be, it might be sensible policy, is it going to be very bad?